recording. All right, now let's get started. So thank you everyone for coming. So today is the second part of our webinar series at LGCC. Today we will talk about brain building and brain damaging parenting styles. So it sounds a bit intimidating again, like talk about brain building and brain damaging. In fact, like as a parent, brain support is at the fingertips of parents' hands. So it's so important, like for me and privilege for me to share the knowledge with all of you. All right, so for the previous part was about brain development intro and the activities for ages 0 to 5. It was in another video. So if you're interested, you can feel free to go to Hopley's YouTube channel to watch it. And today we'll focus on the parenting style parts. So what's the most important part to help and support our children's brain? It's mainly the positive experience that gained by our children. So as long as a child has someone who can provide consistent, stable, supportive, and responsive, then they can have a very healthy brain development. All right, so what is consistent? Consistent means every day, or regularly. So for example, the children can have food, can have care, can have somebody take care of them every day. That will be consistent. Stable. Stable means like probably from the same person. So we know like when children was young, maybe we hire a nanny. So and maybe grandparents come over to help. So if we can have the same person for a few months, half a year or year, that will be stable. But if we need to change a nanny like couple weeks, like every couple weeks, even though the child received the consistent love and care every day, but from different person, it's still not stable. So we want it to be stable. And we also want to be supportive. Supportive means like that if the child did something that is good, we give them encouragement. Even something bad, we can always find something to encourage them. Even when they were young, like how they write, how they draw, we can always find something to appreciate them. For me, I teach preschoolers in the morning. So if even they cannot write the letters well, we can always find maybe a line that can write really, really straight, then to appreciate them, something like that. And we want to be a responsive parents. So if the child comes to help, ask for help, or just want you to play with them. Sometimes we are busy as parents, we know that. If we are washing dishes, if we are doing work, we still want to be responsive. We don't need to play with them right away, but we tell them, okay, how about a bit later? So we want to provide that positive experience to our children. And if a child can have somebody in life, throughout the life, and that would be great. With the positive experience from someone who can provide consistent, stable, supportive, and responsive experience to them, that will be supporting their brain development already. So exactly if there are any tangible things we can do, of course we can. Last time we went through a little bit about something called serve and return. We go through again. And another way is to coach our children using some social emotional learning skills to help them practice the executive functions. So, okay, let's dive into it. So serve and return. So it's a term that is used by table tennis players or tennis players. So exactly what is it? It means that if a child talks to us like, okay, look, Dad, I drew a flower, then you respond with a positive response. Okay, oh wow, this is a nice flower, rather than yeah, or looking at other thing. So when they serve the ball to us, like talking to us, we bounce it back with a positive experience. We're not smashing it, like yelling or shouting. That is smashing. We want to have a positive experience by providing a positive return back to the other table. So that's the skill called serve and return. There are 5 steps that we can follow to help to support the brain development. For young children, for older children, actually they're all the same way. Mainly how we interact with our children. First is to share the focus. So for younger children, if they did something, they're playing, we have formed that habit already when we're new parents. We look at the children, what they are doing, and share the same focus so that we are looking at the same thing. So for older children, they know, like, Mom, you're not looking at me when we're talking. So they know. So it's very important to share the same focus. Second step is to provide support and encouragement. So when for this picture, like, oh wow, the young child was stirring something, maybe making Play-Doh with mom, and mom can say, you stir really well. So some supportive language to help the child. For older children, we can talk, they're cooking, we can say, wow, that's delicious, and thank you for cooking the breakfast to me. So that kind of supportive language is very important to build a serve and return. So once the child did something, not exactly talking, but they did something is right, doing the homework. Wow, you did your homework by yourself. Practice the piano. Wow, you practice it without me reminding you. They are doing something that from their behaviors, and then you can return back. Okay, they serve already. You can return back with a supportive encouragement. The third one will be name it. This is more for younger children. You can name like when the mom is there, how to teach a child some vocabularies. Just name it. Look at the camera, smile, and then the child learns the language, like the vocabulary camera already. For older children, you can share books, to name people, name the song that they are playing. Okay, give a name so to increase their vocabularies. So that part is also helping to bring develop. The fourth one actually is very important. Some of us may be playing board games already, like since the children were very young. That is so healthy. What you're doing, we're supporting your children's brain development. So important to take turns. That help the children learn that everyone has a turn, and it's important to wait. Why is it supporting the brain development? Because the child learns to have a good self-control. Even though they really want to play the game, maybe they lost it the first time, they want to do it again and then win the game, but they need to follow the rules. They need to have self-control, let another person take the turn. So once they have that, take turns doing things back and forth and control themselves and let other people take the turn, that's actually the executive function, one of the executive function. We'll talk more about it, and help to build the brain. So that's also serve and return to one person, serve by just like moving maybe the Jenga piece, and then the other person, the parent, can also like put another Jenga piece. So just remember back and forth, back and forth. Sometimes it's behaviors, sometimes it's words, but we want to provide that positive experience. Okay, keep the ball on the table, so that we are not smashing, we're not making people angry and walk off from the court, but we have that like rally going on, like back and forth, back and forth. Now the last one is ending and beginning. For younger children, we want to teach them they can be leader. For young children, they've been hearing, following direction at home, at school. They didn't really have a time for them to experience the leadership. So for younger children, it will be like letting them to decide what to play and when to end. Sometimes for very, very young children, they may insist on like reading the book, here 1 page, 2 page, and then close it. That's it for them. That's the ending already for them, even though they haven't finished the book. And we can follow the lead because that's their pace. And they learn to lead rather than just follow. There are many times for them to learn how to follow already. During the school time, and many other times opportunities at home. So for younger children, for older children too, let them decide like where would you like to eat. Let them decide when to end, when to begin. Even maybe going to amusement park, which one would you like to play? They are enough. They want to move on, even though they haven't explored the entire area. Maybe going to a zoo, there are other things to see on the other side. You want to go there to explore? They say no, it's okay. Let them lead. We give them opportunities for them to lead. So that's the serve and return as well. If you provide, you serve, let them ask them, where would you like to go? And they return, okay? Giving the suggestion, we don't want to just stop there and not letting them like follow their decision. We give them chances. Of course, they're not exactly, sometimes they need to, we serve, like we suggest where to go, and then they learn how to return, okay, maybe follow this way. So we give each other opportunities to begin and end, to lead and follow. So that's serve and return. So those are the 5 steps. Share the focus, support and encourage each other. name the activities that you are engaging in. Take turns to practice your self-control part, and also let them lead and then begin. So those are the 5 steps of serve and return that would help our children's brain development. And best of all, actually, most of them, what parents are practicing already, but you may not know, you're actually supporting your children's brain development already. Just we need to be more intentional and know, okay, when we communicate or when our children did something well, remember to encourage them. Then we return back with a positive experience. So yeah, so keep going. If you're doing it already, keep doing it. It will serve you well, serve your children well as well. So very importantly, so positive experience, consistent, stable, supportive, responsive, and serve and return is one way to do it. Now, next one is as parents, we can also coach our children to learn some social emotional learning skills and practice the executive functions in our brain. So exactly what is executive functions? So this is something very important. It's located in our prefrontal cortex in the forebrain that won't be mature till age 25. And those are the abilities to regulate our emotions, to help our children finish the task well and be successful in the real world. So there are 3 main areas for executive functions. First one is called working memory. Working memory is like similar to short-term memory. It's mainly if the children heard us saying or doing something, and then they will adjust, make a decision, adjust what they say or what they do. For example, in the very early morning, okay, we're getting late. Okay, these few days, okay, it rains. If you need to go to school, then you may say, okay, we need to hurry up because it took a longer time to drive today. Okay, so you talk to your children, okay, finish your breakfast fast, get ready, put the shoes on. I'm going to get a key. All right, you went to get a key, came back, same situation. Eating at the same pace, like you didn't hear what you said before, okay, didn't put on the shoes. So that is because their working memory is still not mature yet. They haven't been able to respond well to some sudden change. Okay, some other people said said you need to be hurried, and they haven't adjusted behavior or what they say yet. The next one is cognitive flexibility or flexible thinking. You may know that this is very obvious for younger children. They may want to wear the same pants all the time, especially for 3 and 4. If you remember, they were younger, then okay, I need to have the pink pants all the time. Even though I heard some children, even though it's in the laundry, they went back to pick it up and need to wear that one to school. So it's very not flexible at all, very fixed thinking. And also they need the book to be put at this way. Okay, you can change it. They want to have the same vegetable the same day. If you change a dish, they don't like it. They don't want to eat it. Or if they have the rice here and then maybe some beef and other ingredients on the side for the dish, same thing, you give it to them. This time you just mix them together. They don't like it. They refuse to eat. So that's very fixed thinking, very rigid. They don't want to change. So that's the cognitive flexibility part. It's not mature yet, okay? So it happens very often and really frustrating. It's very frustrating to parents because they are not willing to cooperate. We thought that they are not willing to cooperate is mainly because their brain is not mature yet. So we can calm down and get, okay, work with them. Okay, the last one will be self-control we talk about. So inhibitory control. So children, you can see, also very obvious for younger children too. If you ask them not to touch it, you will just go and touch it. See what will happen. Okay, you want them to wait. Okay, there's a very famous marshmallow test where I ask them to, if you wait a little bit longer, give a marshmallow to you, wait a little bit longer, 5 minutes later maybe, and then you can get more. Then they test it out to see how many children can hold on, have a good self-control. Okay, so not to be trapped in that temptation. Wait until they can get another. Most of your kids won't. They just grab it and eat. Very impulsive. So sometimes it happens. Why? Because the brain is not mature yet. So it happens so often. Maybe you ask them, come dinner time. Come and have dinner now. You can play later. They're still playing the Lego. They don't want to come right away. The self-control part, they can control, like stop playing and then go to have dinner right now. It takes time. So all of this will affect our relationship, mainly because the children's brain is not fully developed till age 25. So now we know that there are many things that can be very frustrating or even damaging to children and parents' relationship, can be due to the prefrontal cortex immaturity. And once we know it takes time for them to develop, and we don't need to be that anxious or frustrated, then we can calm down and find a way to resolve it. So how to resolve it? We want to teach our children, right? The good thing is all of those skills can be learned and taught. So through social emotional learning, you can teach them how to manage their emotion. If they got angry, they may throw a tantrum right away. They need to have that self-control to calm down. You can teach them how to manage, how to have those coping skills. If they cannot have that self-control, like it's time for dinner and then go for dinner, you can teach them. You can teach them how to have a plan, okay, have a schedule, time management. Okay, if this, look at the clock, 7 o'clock is supposed to be dinner time. Then they can get prepared and then know that, okay, it's time to put down the toy and then come back to have dinner. So there are many, many skills we can teach them, even though the brain is not fully mature. And you know what? The good thing is, for young children, the best time to learn those skills and to practice those executive functions would be actually from ages 3 to 5. That's the best time. You can see a huge peak here. And I have talked to this professor, Professor Sandra Waitrop. Her work was quoted by many top-notch researchers, people who focus on children's brain development. So this is so crucial that from her reports that this age is the perfect time. What happened if my children's old? They're older now. Okay, what happened? Great thing is our brain keep on developing. So it just take a little bit longer. So even older children, even people, even young adults, okay, even us, our brain keep developing. For them to learn the skills, we still have a window of opportunity. We just need to teach them, just take a little bit longer time, maybe more effort. You can see the change, like for younger children, you can see the change maybe within a day. For older children, maybe within a few days or weeks. For adults, could be a few months, but it can be all be shaped. Our brain is so plastic. Once we learn the skills, we practice it intentionally, we are actually shaping our children's brains. So through those skills, we can help them manage emotions. We can help them to show more empathy. They know, okay, mommy has already worked for the whole day, spend an hour to cook. It's dinner time, and you could be cooperative and then come and have dinner together. Everyone is waiting for you. Then they can show empathy to understand that. Help them with problem solving. If you have more than one child, problem solving is skills is also part of the prefrontal cortex an area. And you can see like children, even though they're two toys, right? They can trade, they can take turn, but you can see lots of sibling rivalries. They just want the same toy at the same time. When another person is interested, they just want to grab it or to agitate another person. That's a problem solving skill, and it's not fully mature yet, but we can teach them social emotional learning skills. How to problem solve. Ask what's the problem here. So there are two toys, and one person wants this red one, and another person also wants a red one. How can we solve it? Can we brainstorm some solution? Can we find a solution that works for you? How do you feel if you don't have it? How do you feel if the another person had it first? We can ask them those questions, teach them to see from different people's perspectives, and teach them some problem solving skills, and they can resolve it. Then you at home, you won't have so many sibling rivalries. You just need to teach them those skills. So they're not just like sibling rivalries can be avoided, can be resolved. So it is not necessary to be there. So we just need to teach them those skills, and then they can practice, and you coach them. So it won't just happen like you ask them to play and then no sibling rivalries. There will be time you can still see them fighting. against each other, yelling, hitting. You just need to be there, guide them. Okay, what should we do? And how about the other person? What should we do? And most importantly, you need to help them calm down first. When they are calm, they can listen and can find a way to resolve it. So there are other skills that you can teach, like when you have when your children become teenagers, you can teach them some organization skills, planning skills, the scheduling, plan ahead for the homework is still coming up, and this exam coming up. How would you reach your goal? Prioritizing, should we do this homework first or the other one? Those are all social emotional learning skills, the learning part, and you can help them, teach them, coach them, then they can. The brain part, the skills they learn, it will actually strengthen the prefrontal cortex development. So even though normally it won't be mature to 25, they can learn those skills to support the brain development, to build those connections inside the brain. So very good. So everyone, all the parents, you can do it. And there are ways to help your child to support the development. So some more example. So how can parents coach their children's social emotional learning skills? Now we talk a little bit more about feelings. Feeling is so important because if a child is really, really upset, really, really angry, very disappointed, extremely frustrated, most of the time you see them keep on crying, throwing a tantrum, you talk a lot, lecture them, it won't work. It's because our brain, there's another pathway other than prefrontal cortex. There's something called amygdala that control our emotion, and we hijack it so that our children disconnect the pathway to the prefrontal cortex. So all the logic will be gone. We want them to have the emotion calm down first. So usually people use the hand to show it. So the amygdala is like in the middle part, to control our emotion. And then this is the prefrontal cortex. When they're really upset, like dropping ice cream, it's like hijacked, and then the prefrontal cortex part will be disconnected, and they being hijacked by the emotion, totally being really upset, can't think of anything. It won't be logical. They start throwing tantrum. No, we need to help them calm down, and so that we can talk to them logically. So it's very important about what we say. Okay, we don't want to trigger emotion, like keep on hijacking and not being able to be reasonable. We want them to calm down, say something that can help them calm down. So instead of saying, I told you to hold on to the ice cream, you didn't listen, what do you think? Probably trigger that emotion, making them more upset. You're sending them to a guilt trip. We should say, okay, it must be terrible to see the ice cream drop on the ground, right? It's you want the ice cream, you love that, that's your favorite flavor. It must be terrible. So we show empathy, and they can calm down, and then we can talk. We sometimes as parents, we may just easily say, okay, don't cry, because maybe in the public too, don't cry, why are you crying? Or we're even being very gentle, don't cry. But we are even saying don't cry is kind of ignoring or shutting down their emotion, because it's really upset. To you, an ice cream may not be a big thing. To them, it's huge. Okay, they've been wanting to have the ice cream for a long time. And even not for a long time, they want to have it. It's important. They like it. So to them, it's very important. So if they want to cry, we can let them cry too. And then we can also do even better. Ask them, how do you feel? Are you very upset now? Are you very disappointed? Must be hard, huh? Then it can calm down, and we can talk logically, like about what to do. So very important when we talk to our children, when we coach them social emotional learning skill, coach them how to manage their emotion well, because they can be hijacked by their strong emotion. And when they're being hijacked, they won't be reasonable. They can't think logically. So we want them to calm down. So instead of like saying, I won't buy an ice cream for you, this can be very common maybe for first generation immigrant parents, or sometimes grandparents. It may happen, and it's very normal. But we know we shouldn't say that. We can tell them, maybe we can hold on to it tighter next time. So say something that can comfort them. Say something that shows your empathy, your love. That will help them manage the emotion. And even when they're very upset, very angry, very anxious, they can still manage the emotion. They won't be hijacked by the emotion and do something, throw a tantrum or something, kicking other people, saying some bad words, or just like not motivated to do anything, wasted the entire hour being angry. We want them to be able to manage their strong emotion, calm down, and connect to the prefrontal cortex. So how can parents coach their children? First of all, it's important for the parents themselves, ourselves, to learn those social emotional learning skills. This is not something that we learn, most of us, when we were young. We just talk about like maybe academic, maybe some social skills, but not really like how to handle our emotions. But it's so important because everything like if we're driven by the emotion, hijacked by emotion, we are kind of paralyzed, can't do things well. So very important to manage our emotions. So learn the social emotional learning skills for ourselves, and then we model it. I'm so glad like we do that service to teach parent child those social emotional learning skills and life skills. We've seen parents do so well. They were angry, very upset, and they learn to manage it. They just walk out. We talk about during our lesson time. We talk about, okay, what can daddy do? What can you do? And then that model is so well. Like just go to some other places to calm down. And also the next thing would be to teach children social emotional learning skills. So very important to teach them, because of course, if it's not something that we talk about, they are not fully developed. If they are not being taught before and it's not naturally developed, how can they learn? So it's very important to teach them. So parents, after you model it, you learn it, you can teach them in a children age appropriate way. So for example, for younger children, what we teach them is that we give them some color coding, green, yellow, dark yellow, orange, red. Red would be the highest, like very furious. Like, what's your anger level now? We also do some demonstrations, some object to show them, okay, balloon is getting bigger, 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 bigger. Well, like how big is your balloon now when you're angry? And then we have parents who learn the skill and learn how to coach them. And they would just ask, even they were in a fight. Like we had a dad and with a daughter, they were in a fight. And then the dad managed his emotions so well that he can calm down and then start guiding the child. What's your anger level now? What's your color? And then we will talk about like what's the coping skills that the child prefer. And this child may be drinking some water, doing some massage. Like the dad then asks, like, what kind of coping skill you want? Do you want water now? Do you want to do a somersault? And then the daughter said somersault. So she just went off to do a few somersaults and then came back fine. And then they can talk. So then it's safe a fight, and also the child learns how to manage it. They need guidance. They're so young. So even they learn the skills, they may not remember. So it's very important for the parents to coach them. Then they can learn, and then they can apply the skills in their daily life. And we want them to acquire those skills since they were young. Because as parents, we know we can't be with them all the time. We don't know what happened at school, what happened in other activities, what kind of people they bump into, what kind of events they may face. Maybe suddenly lost a game. We can't be there all the time, but we can teach them those social emotional learning skills. Then they know how to handle different life uncertainty, adversaries. They can manage themselves well, and they become happy, confident, and resilient. So that's our goal, to help them. And this is so important for parents to learn it too, because even though we know that social emotional learning, we talk about it at school, many schools implement it, but still, if you talk to some children, they can tell you. They say, oh, social emotional learning time. They say, oh yeah, growth mindset, the power of yes. They make fun of it. They don't treat it seriously. They may just treat it as like one of the lessons, because it's not enforced at home. It's unlike like math, English language arts, that we may, as parents, we know that they have homework to do, or parents may reinforce it and teach them separately after school. They may join some team. They got many reinforcement for those areas at home. So that's why they can accelerate being so well. But social emotional learning skills to help them for the brain development, learn those executive functions, practice it. They didn't have any other ways to practice. They just learn at school. That's it. So there was a survey done in 2013 by CASEL, an organization advocating the importance of SEL for more than 20 years. More than 80% of teachers said that the lack of skill reinforcement at home is the biggest challenge for children to acquire those skills. So parents, you're so important to help them acquire those skills. You learn it, you practice it, model it, teach your children, and also help them coach them to apply them in their daily lives. So those two, the serve and return, and also coaching them to learn the social emotional learning skills in order to practice executive function, those three areas, working memory, flexible thinking, and also the self-control. It will support the brain development, help them to manage themselves well.